Okay, we're here at the beach at Pangandaran in Indonesia. It's about 6 hours kind of southeast of Bandung. And you can see is got this nice South Sea ambience with the green vegetation going right toward the sea's edge. It's kind of a gulf like here. You can see in the distance what look like islands coming out of the ocean. Well, I'm sorry, mountains coming out of the ocean. Well, it's not quite mountains, but kind of making a horseshoe here where the water's coming into a gulf or a bay, you could say. And a lot of boats along the beach. There's some fishing, and I'll take a lot of tourists for rides as well. And some beach hotels right here. It's got a lot in common with a lot of beachside towns. And there's certainly a lot of souvenir shops selling shorts and flip-flops and hats and shirts and whatever. And you got foreign tourists here, including myself. And just showing you a bit of a panorama of it. We're going to be here for 2 nights. And it's going to be, looks like it's going to be a nice time. Well, I don't know if you can see in the video, moving through there is a deer. They're close to the beach here, and see by these fishermen not far away, there's Evie walking into the camera view. Yeah, well, this deer does not seem to be too afraid when I'm trying to approach it. Get a little closer. Oh, now it's looking at us. Well, I just noticed there's a chain link fence between us and the deer. So somehow maybe the deer knows it's protected. And it's looking at me right now, and it's, well, starting to feed it graze again. It's looking back. Evie's trying to get its attention. That's the noise you hear. But earlier in the day, we saw a couple walking actually along the road in front of the shops. We saw, well, 3 of them. And so they're obviously not that afraid of a human presence. This one's looking back at us again, now looking the other way. We don't know if it's part of a herd or it's just wandering around grazing. Now it's looking at me because my voice probably has its attention. I don't know what species of deer this is, but I don't know if it's barking deer or let's see if he spots a spotted deer. It's surprisingly, it's coming closer now to the edge of the fence here. I'm looking to see if there are any others, but I haven't noticed any. See if I can get even closer here. Yeah, this is a rocky ledge here. Well, maybe it's, let's see if I can clear this. There we go. Well, it seems like it feels protected by this fence. And it's not that frightened of us. Because I'm surprised I could approach a deer this close. It's just eating and just looking at us. Evie's shaking a water bottle at it. So, well, probably looking at us like we're silly, but yeah. Yeah, it can't come down here. You see the fence? See the fence?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can't come down here. Oh, it's just, well, it looks like it wants that leaf there on the fence. Oh, it's got it. Just, no, maybe it doesn't like it. Yeah, sadly, there's a lot of garbage in this area, and I don't know if the deer's just sniffing it out to, oh, and we got, oh, look at this, a huge monitor lizard. Look at this thing just crawling around here. Well, I'm not going to try to catch it. Yeah, monitor. Yeah, trying to get closer to it. Monitor. Yeah, you can see it crawling there. The monitor lizard's got a whip-like tail. Wow. Yeah, well, yeah, it's now looking at me. Well, no, I guess it's a good thing to have around. It'd probably eat any mice or rats that are around here. And it's, well, it's got a whip-like tail and some sharp claws and can inflict a nasty bite. It's gone behind this building here. So, well, I wouldn't try to catch it, that's for sure, because it could be a real bad experience if you try. We're on the other side of Pangandaran, and over here you can see a lot of bamboo piers and a lot of boats actually anchored in the water, including some floating toys here. And it looked like some resort hotels along the closer to the water here. You can see this is more like a bay, if anything. And I'm sorry, I'm moving the camera too quickly. Some men fishing there. And that's a little deer out there, but it's a little calmer over here. This seems to be more geared toward fishing. And there's some fish in the water apparently. Trying to see it. Yeah, there's a school of small fish right there. It may not show up in the camera, but I don't know what they are, but they're very, very small school here. Very small fish. But a nice breeze over on this side, and seems to be very comfortable here. You can see there's a lot of souvenir shops right here, like in a lot of American seaside towns. These are selling wind chimes. They sell anything from t-shirts to hats, as you can see, and all. And plus, it looks like the deer is a customer. It's right here while the man is walking out here. He's not going to come over here. Now he's looking at us. So let me move through the other window. Yeah, it's amazing how tame these deer can be. Walking right up to the car. And Evie, I don't know, for some reason, is offering him my water bottle. Oh, it's her water bottle. Never mind. Well, the deer's looking at us like we're strange, and well, probably to him we are. Yeah, get a lot of attention. He's just looking, but yeah, nonetheless, it's amazing how unafraid this deer seems to be. Because most of the time, you would never find a deer in a situation like this. And I don't think it's lost. It's just walking along, and yeah, people just enjoy living with the wildlife. I think I know the secret as to why the deer come up here this close. There's some garbage and all. Well, he's getting a little nervous. He's breathing heavily. I'm about maybe 5 feet from him, which is 1.5 meters. And the car's blowing the horns, but nonetheless, he must be hungry because he's going through the garbage right here. The basket he knocked over. It's he's finding stuff to eat. Looks like I don't know what that fruit is that he's eating, but he's able to eat it down there. It almost looks like potatoes. Well, nonetheless, he's also too. I just noticed there's a large board there. It looks like they cut fruit or whatever on there, and apparently there's some leftovers, and the deer is taking advantage of them. Yeah. Just amazing looking at the wildlife here. And well, we're also by the gate to a national park. I just realized it's maybe about a couple 100 yards behind us, so maybe the deer wander out from there. But it seems like the animals and the people here have a good relationship, so yep, now he's going to the board on top there. There's something up there. He's sniffing around, but on the left too, with the leftover fruit scraps. This deer is being an opportunist. Oh, he just picked up a black garbage bag in his mouth. I think I caught it on video. Yeah, there's a little something there on the cutting board there he ate. Yes, bon appetit, dear. I'll show you a little bit of the town as we ride through it. As you can see, a lot like other American seaside towns. A lot of souvenir shops selling, you know, pretty much what a lot of seaside shops in America sell. Over here, it's more traditional Indonesian. Over here, more seaside tourist. Well, depends on which side of the road you look, I guess. We're driving by a hotel right now. It's not the one we're staying at. We're at seafood dinner here and enjoying some of the fish and other creatures of Indonesia's waters. We were here, well, actually, I'm sorry, we were at a different restaurant, Evie and I, having lunch. I had a delicious shrimp lunch, some of the local shrimp, they look a bit different than what you find in the southeastern United States near Miami, where I live, but nonetheless, they're delicious, prepare well. There's some fish here that are still alive. And got some here on ice, and they're showing us some other things over here. That's a huge shrimp right there, and got look like lobsters over here, and those almost look like those are just shells or sand dollars. Showing us a bunch of things here, shrimp of different sizes. And let's see, probably not shrimp, but we got a huge selection to choose from right here. And of course, being near the water, this was probably freshly caught, so I think we're going to have a good dinner. Well, I'll show you, and what's interesting is you see the scale there in the basket. Is what you do is you pick your food here first while it's still raw, and it gets weighed. And then from there, when it's final, I mean, that's what I'm picking is a snapper. Some people here are getting shrimp. Yeah, my snapper's over there. That young man there is scaling it right now, taking off the scales. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, Evie's just trying to give a better view. But yeah, it gets scaled and cleaned, and it's cooked back here. So this just now preparing the shrimp. I mean, a few other people. I forgot to mention that along with Evie and I, one of our regular drivers is taking us here, and this is his wife and daughter who are enjoying everything. The daughter's 4 years old, precious little girl, and just enjoying the different sights. I know it's kind of stinks a little bit here. But here they are. This is the shrimp right here that they're gonna just chop up. And some of the scraps that they have here, they may reuse for bait, but we'll see here. They're just chopping it up, and that's my snapper back there that's getting ready. He's now cleaning it. I know this may look a little both redundant and unappetizing cleaning fish, but nonetheless, this is what goes on right now. Just going to give you a little panorama where we're eating. There's certainly a lot of seats indoor here, whereas it's also got outdoor. It's in this little cul-de-sac type street. And Mr. Chicken running around. Looks like a bunch of young Indonesian college-age tourists posing for a photo. There's the water right there. And it's really peaceful over here. I mean, the traffic is slow, but it's not in great abundance, but certainly a peaceful setting. Well, Evie wanted me to film these. Nama? Pate? Pate. Pate, which is a large bean pod here. And I was told it has a real strong odor if you open it.
Pate, in Sundanese, pate.
Pate, it's Sundanese, okay. Well, you get a language lesson too here. Sit down for dinner. It says we just preparing the food. Looks like it's a little slow in here, so I see a number of staff just sitting down. I guess can't do much. And you just all the men of probably the managers and owners doing the bookkeeping. The girls primarily wait on the customers, and they're all wearing hijabs, so it's probably a devout Muslim-owned business. The young men are back there. They're the ones doing the cooking and the preparation of the fish. Basically the dirty work back there. Dinner is served right here. The rice came in this big metal bowl that's been distributed, along with this greens here and a little bit of ginger. And there's the snapper right there, and I guess the shrimp is coming later, but wow, does that look impressive. Well, after dinner, we have a herd of deer here. I count 5, 6 here. I don't know if there are any bucks. There's a doe. There's a fawn over there. Little baby deer. Let's see, 1, 2. Oh, I thought that one was coming over here. He's not. Well, obviously the 4-year-old girl over here is enjoying the view. I just had to show this. Well, along with the wild deer, we got a couple of bucks here. We can tell that by the antlers. Got a dominant male on the left with a full rack of antlers. I believe, and the one on the right is about the same size, but I guess a more subordinate male. He's younger and his antlers aren't fully developed. So, but it's amazing they're out here without any does or females. And it's probably the deers we saw earlier, the deer I said earlier, the does, because they had no antlers, and we saw one that was not fully grown, a fawn. So it's interesting, not the stereotypical makeup of a deer herd that I expected. But nonetheless, they're walking around here, a lot of scraps of like fruit and fruit leftovers, maybe peels or whatever, and they just dig through the garbage and eat it, and it seems like the people here don't really mind it that much. Yeah, well, we got a fawn here. It's a very small, it's a baby. It's surprised it's out here by itself, and now it's walking away. It's just very surprising to see a deer fawn by itself. Nonetheless, it obviously does not feel threatened. And now more on this side. See a couple more. Oh, look at this. I got a herd here. There's a dominant male in the back there, a buck with a full rack of antlers. Some does and a couple of fawns. There's a younger adolescent male here, it looks like, with the smaller antlers. Or it could, maybe it's a doe with the antlers. Well, they're taken off. Well, the big male there, he's got vines in his antlers. Look at that. You could just barely see it in the light. Got vines in his antlers, and well, he's standing his ground because this is probably his herd, and he's going to protect it. If I were to step outside, he might charge. So I'm not going to step out. Yeah, there's a couple of fawns right there, some real small ones. They're obvious. Yeah. Well, I'm playing it safe, staying inside the vehicle, because even a deer that size, it's got sharp hooves that can throw a nasty kick, and those antlers could still do a job of me. So I'm just gonna. Yeah. Well, obviously he doesn't think I'm a threat, so he's walking away. Got a whole herd here. Yeah, be careful. Don't get too close with that big male there. See him, the big male? Yeah. No, the problem is if those deer feel threatened, he might charge. He might come after us. Yeah, that's why I'm not stepping outside. Because he sees me as a threat, he's going to attack. Well, of course, it's not just deer. We're just cruising at night. It's kind of peaceful. Well, it's not a weekend, so it's not that much activity. Yeah, just a lot of lights here and a lot of little vehicles with these Christmas lights that take people probably around the seaside resort area. Yeah, especially like the lights on the little Volkswagen Beetle looking vehicles. And there's a couple more up front of the windshield. You can just barely see them. Now there's pushcart vendors coming right in front of them. Going slow. And you can rent anything from bicycles to dirt bikes to motor scooters. These things, I think you need a driver for them, but I don't know. Maybe they are fun to ride in. So, I don't know. Well, you can see the neighboring mosque, and there's some distant lights there out over the water. So we're driving near the water's edge here.